Hello, guys. Welcome to another Grit N Grime basketball podcast. I'm your host, as always, David Sagoe. What's up? We gotta do our symbols to start, man.
Yeah, man.
We're making shots out here, man. Rev the engine. I'm your host, as always, David Sagoe. Alongside Thomas Arnal.
It's beer o'clock.
It's gonna make this episode a lot more interesting. Michael Downey.
All right.
And Jose Garcia Vidal.
Hey, guys.
Hey. All right. So this week, the league came back properly. Regular season has begun. We've got games, actual games.
Real.
Yeah, crazy.
No, nothing else happening this week. It's quiet.
Oh, not in the UK, not abroad. I don't know. And yeah, we've had some good games. We've had some interesting games. It's too early to really read too much into what's been going on. But we have had some incidents already on the court and off the court. And what we want to do is introduce a little segment, well, a big segment we'd like to call the NBA Stock Exchange. So in this segment, we are going to pick teams and players, mostly coaches are involved as well, where we want to buy or sell our stock in them, generally based on our expectations of them as players, teams, and people, you know. So we're going to start the discussion with the much maligned James Joseph Harden. I don't know if that's his middle name.
I don't think so.
Throw it out there.
AJH.
James Edwards. James Edwards.
I was close.
Oh, okay.
I was
All
close.
AJ Harden.
Junior.
So in the last week or so, the Houston Rockets have already had their opening game of the season delayed because of a COVID outbreak on the team. They couldn't field. I think it's 8 players you have to be able to field. And yeah, so that game was postponed. They played their first game against the Trailblazers and lost. And then they played the Nuggets and lost last night. But that wasn't why they were in the news. Mostly, it was actually because James Harden posted a picture of what was it? Was it a Gucci?
It's a video.
A video, sorry, of a Gucci suitcase or something like that.
It was a Gucci backpack.
Yeah, okay.
In a club.
It didn't look like a backpack.
Oh, that's some shit.
But yeah, he was in a club. He said it wasn't a club, and the world went crazy.
It wasn't a club, technically. It was a bar, okay?
It was a bar, it was a club, it was a strip club. Who cares?
All right.
Or as we call it here in England, a pub.
Yeah. He had a substantial meal, so
Fine, he had his scotch egg. Right?
Exactly. He was just having his post-game protein shake after training. That's it.
Sure.
That's it.
What's wrong with that?
They have the best protein shakes in the city.
I thought it was a carvery, you know, a bit of meat, a bit of gravy, pint, you know, some cider. Yeah.
Right?
Well, it was cool.
So that's what happened. The world hates him, but I don't hate him, guys. I know I should as a COVID-19 rule follower. But first game back, out of shape, clearly, physically, you can see it. Look at the pictures. Perkins said he looks like me. And
Ooh, that's hard.
44 and 17.
I know.
Career high in assists.
And they won the game?
Narrow loss in overtime.
Ah, cool.
40, but that is insane. The fact that the past 6 weeks has been the guy's fat, he's not training, he hits his teammates, he doesn't want to play, and then he rocks up and gets 44 and 17.
So
who does that?
Things to think about here. Yes, the guy's fat. The guy doesn't like his team. But that means that he wouldn't pass it to anybody, right? And he didn't have anyone to pass it to. So it was just him and Chris Woods, who played really well, surprisingly well.
Yeah.
But it was the game was special, like a special occasion for him to show all the GMs in the league, hey, I'm still here, guys. Want to trade for me? You know, now even the Rockets are thinking, you know, I know that the Rockets are thinking, how can we keep this guy after seeing this? Don't you think so? That being said, so unprofessional, and that's something I'm also gonna, you know, speak about later when we talk about PG-13. But it's just like, come on, man, you're a professional.
Yeah.
Just make sure that nobody's filming you, right?
Right. So, and it's not that difficult either. Like, he's posing for pictures, and
Right. Yeah.
I think he's shooting these videos himself. Like, he posted it, right? I don't think it was a leak.
That's
I
crazy.
think he posted it.
It was himself. He was himself.
Incredible.
So, despite these incredible performances, Tom, you've chosen to sell your stock in Harden.
Yeah. I mean, I never really own any stock in Harden, to be honest. But the one share I've got, I'm putting it up for sale. You know, somebody can take it from me. I'm done. I'm selling low.
Low.
Very low. Right now,
Look at the averages.
Dude, I mean, come on, like how much more can I, you know, what else can I bring to my argument for or against James Harden? Like the guy wants out of his team. Okay, that's fine. That's fair enough. He's not the first, he's not the last to ask him to do so. You know, that's fine. The main question is already on the basketball court, and for GMs to think, okay, if I bring this guy in, how will he fit in the team? Like there's talk about him on the Nets. Okay, fine, you're on the Nets. You can play small guard alongside with Kyrie and you know and KD. And that's fine. You know, maybe there's enough of one ball to go around, and they'll make it work. Why not? But like, there's probably other teams that are looking at him and going, yeah, maybe we can make it work. But you know, we're trying to make it so on the court. But then you look at what he's doing off the court now, and the way he's behaving with the Rockets and the management. You can argue also that the owner is probably a bit you know, crap. You know, you can argue against them also and say maybe they've not done things they should have done, and trying to refresh the team earlier on and make it exciting for James Harden to stick around. But you know, now you're thinking, okay, maybe on court we can make it work, but then off court, this guy is putting all these stunts, you know, rocking up late at the training sessions and saying he was training in Vegas. You know, it's like it's like, guys, I'm going to train in Thailand. I'm going to Bangkok to train for 5 days. Don't try and call me. I'll be
What else
late.
did you do in Bangkok?
Facilities.
Basketball facilities, amazing. So you know, it's like, what would you do? And then he rocks up, and then on day 2 of the training session starts kicking off with a rookie, throwing balls and shit.
Hold on, you don't know what the rookie did though.
Don't care. The rookie, unless the rookie
matters.
rocks up with a knife or a gun and trying to rob him at gunpoint, I don't care. Like, you're supposed to be the leader of the team. You're supposed to be the voice of reason.
All right, Tom. I think you and I need to sit down and talk about self-defense a little bit.
Self-defense.
If someone comes at you with a knife or a gun, I'm
You
not
throw a
going to
ball.
advise you to throw a ball.
Hey, the element of surprise is there. It's like, shit.
Unless it's one of those balls that explode, you know?
Yeah, it's an exploding ball. No, but it's seriously, it's not looking good for James Harden, because it's like now you've got to think about how you're going to use him on your team, and then who you have to move to get him on your team. And then once you do that, how are you going to play? And now you've got to think, okay, well, if things don't go his way, then he's going to pull this kind of stunt with us maybe, and ask for a trade and put the entire organization at risk. So that's what it is. Like, you know, like, did you see that post he's got on Instagram saying, you know, every day is something new? And like, well, yeah, if you give people ammunition to say, well, look at what he's done now, guess what? These days you got to be squeaky clean online. You can't afford, especially when you're in that situation. Like, okay, let's say you sign a max contract and you're now on $250 billion a year. Damn, do whatever you want. Go out, buy a strip club, and you know, walk around with a mask for if you want, you know, whatever. But like when you're in a situation that is already not looking good for you, just maybe park it for a little bit, behave for a month or two, get out of there. Your image will be all right, and you'll be cool.
Is it not looking good for him though? I mean,
it's not done himself any favors. He's not done himself any favors doing that.
Effectively, what he's doing is lowering his trade value so that more teams can be interested.
He's playing a 4D game of chess. Is that what you're doing?
It's not that complex. Everybody knows what he's capable of. Like if he's properly motivated and stuff. Whether you like his style of play or not, like he will get buckets.
He's trying. What he's trying to do? He's trying to end up on the Wizards.
That would be weird.
Westbrook.
Westbrook wanted out.
Other players.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah, I don't know how long his list of targets are now, but that's what it seems like. He's just not interested in being at Houston. So if it was stock of him playing in Houston, I would be selling. But there might be some long-term returns, getting real financial right now, in stashing it now for the potential of him going to a new team
and blowing up, because the on-court ability has gone absolutely nowhere.
Agree.
I just don't understand it. I guess we've had like a super short preseason. So not giving a fuck in preseason doesn't matter that much. But yeah, I was pretty amazed that he came out in the first game and did that.
Yeah, I still sell my James Harden stock though. I think we said it a couple of weeks ago on another podcast that he's going to be one of those Charles Barkley, Patrick Ewing type of players that they were amazing and never won a championship. Eventually his career is going to end up like that, because just think about it. Right now, the guy wants out and he's not doing it the right way. So his reputation is really bad. I think Kendrick Perkins is, instead of saying, besides saying that he is, he looks like him, he also said that he's a modern day Dennis Rodman. Because of his character and the things he does. So that's bad, man. Like, nobody wants to play with you. From a coach's point of view, I don't want him in my team. I don't want to play against him either, because it's going to be really hard to defend him. But I don't want him on my team. I'd rather, fight it off with other guys. Like I would sell all my stock. I don't care how much I make from it. If I made anything, sell it all. It's too unpredictable.
Right.
The thing that I found weird though is that he came out so absolutely out of shape. Okay, fine. He scored 44 and 17. So he did 17 assists, which is great. That's again great stats. But like you're trying to get moved to another team, and again GMs are looking at it and like he's not done his homework during preseason or in between in the summer, again air quotes. It's like, they see the difference between a LeBron James who's won a bunch of titles like every single summer. He's spending his days in the gym. Like he will take his time off, he'll go and party and do whatever. But then he'll be in the gym, he'll be lifting weights, he'll be putting on muscles, losing muscles, whatever. He'll do what needs to be done. James Harden is like, YOLO. It's like who's that? It's like Neymar in football. It's like he come in the start of the season, it's like, chill, man.
But Shaq also did this.
Yeah, Shaq did it. But how many? Shaq's won titles.
Harden is not Shaq. Shaq was 7'2", but also 500 pounds. Like
but then also the Rockets aren't the Lakers.
Oh, 100%. They have no Kobe there.
I'm not talking about the team you're playing on. That almost has no. I don't really see that as a point. It's like, yeah, okay, fine. They're not the same organization. It's not the same past. It's not the same legacy. It's not the same number of titles won. That's fine. That's fair enough. But he's still a professional. Jose was saying, it's like, that's your job. It's like me rocking up to my job. It's like, nah, I don't have my laptop.
Yeah, okay.
Talk to me.
Jokic.
Same
Last year?
Jokic. I don't care if it's Harden and Jokic. It's like it's literally your job is to be in like look at me. Like you see that tough condition. Like I'm ready to start a new season. They've not done that. Like that,
Okay.
and that's not my job.
Okay,
No,
because that's all that I
technically,
asked, that you hold everyone to the same standard.
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah. No,
So
no, I
when
am
Jokic
holding like
turns
if
up out of
Jok-
shape,
yeah,
he should be criticized. When Shaq turns up
Absolutely.
out of shape, he should be criticized. That's what I
100%.
think should happen. But the talent's undeniable.
yeah.
Oh,
No, but
it's
which is fine. Which
really
is fine.
ridiculous.
He needs to think that he's also what is he now? 31. I think we say 31, 32 years old.
Yeah.
So it's the start of the end of his career, and I can attest once you cross over 30 years old, your body's not the same. You start breaking down, breaking apart.
Really?
Kids. Look forward to that.
I mean, you compare him to LeBron. LeBron is literally like the perfect franchise player. All he wants to do, all he is interested in, is winning titles.
Aren't they all supposed to be in that league because they want to be with the best and win the title, right?
But then they're not all built
They're
like
not.
that guy.
No.
That guy.
No, okay. Some are there for the experience and fine.
No, I'm saying they're not all
And
built
the
like
money.
that. Like the mental fortitude that guy has to be doing this shit and being in the gym at crazy times and spending what he does on his body for 20 years, 18?
18 years, so.
18 years.
It's not everybody can do that.
Oh,
Yeah,
no.
I want
not everybody can.
And that's
everybody
why there's
can,
one LeBron
but-
James, and he's going to play until he's 41, 42, maybe, or maybe more. We don't know.
That's what separates the good players with the great. Like who are the madmen that were in the gym?
basically.
The
right?
freaking madmen that were in the gym all day long is Kobe, Michael Jordan, LeBron.
Mhm.
Turns out you can argue in what order you want them to be, but they're like greatest of all time, the three of them to someone. And that's what makes the difference between a good and a great player, or a great player and a GOAT.
Or championships or
Championships, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
I just think because he's such a my beef with Harden is that he's such a gifted player. It's actually pissing me off that it looks like he's not taking it seriously. It looks like he's not taking it seriously.
Right,
I-
but he also he's specifically acting it. He doesn't do this every season.
Doesn't he?
No.
Come
I
in
don't
every
think
season
so.
No.
He's look better. He's look healthier. 100%.
No, there was one season 2 years ago, I think, where he came in poor shape, and that was the first time that had happened until now.
I think last season he lost weight before the season.
Yeah, he did.
Because everybody had sort of said that the previous playoffs he got gassed and couldn't keep up. So he made a point of coming in shape.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a bunch of photos they've released on Instagram where he was going up a mountain or something with no top on. It was just like 6-pack. Yeah. So he can do it.
Those are the same trainers he was with in Vegas, by the way. I verified it.
Oh, that was just there. Thanks.
So we just
Same
have
Thank you for
training.
your,
Not
thanks
the
for
same
your effort
training.
last
Not
year.
the same-
Let's go train.
Not the same training program, though.
No, warm weather training in the desert.
Activity. Yeah.
All right. So Tom is selling, Jose is selling their Harden stock. Mike, you're doing some buying. Tell us about your purchase.
A guy that I basically kind of forgot about when it came to the awards season that I probably would have picked for MIP. Lou Dort. Remember that guy from the bubble? Yeah, he's still doing it. And yeah, we completely overlooked last season, sort of around in his rookie season, until he got to the bubble and people start to pay a bit more attention. And that's carried over. It was a bit of a sort of question over would he be able to do it without the presence of CP3 around him, but it seems like he can. And it's I think it's looking like at the moment he's averaging over 20 points a game. Last season, regular season, he was averaging 6 points a game. So that's an MIP sort of
jump for sure.
So,
Yeah. He
And
go ahead.
obviously, it's still sort of still doing all right.
Yeah, they what is their record actually? They right now are, what is this, regular season? They are 1-1. Lost to the Hornets, and they beat the Jazz. Yeah, he is averaging 20 points. He had a 26-point game against the Jazz in a loss, but I think he was like 5 for 7 from 3. So yeah, he's definitely looked good to start the season. He's built like such a unit, man. That guy is such a brick. He's just a brick, a whole brick himself. But he's been making his shots. He made a ridiculous number in Game 7 against the Rockets when they dared him to shoot. And it looks like the Jazz did that a little bit again last night and paid for it, almost paid for it anyway. They won it in the last 10 seconds through Mitchell. But yeah, he shot 81%, 81.8%.
How's that?
Crazy.
Yeah, so the main reason is just that I think that there's been no chatter about him going into the season, so it seems like his value is pretty low compared to where it should be.
It's a great shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're selling?
I'm selling my guy Ben Simmons.
How could you do it?
Finally.
It's an early one to jump out on your own team. But yeah, three games in, I think, for the Sixers. He still hasn't attempted a 3. Yeah. And we just lost to the Cavs. The fucking Cavs.
Yeah.
Embiid wasn't playing, but we're still saying that Simmons is supposed to be a superstar. He's supposed to be like a franchise level player. And I'm just not seeing that. You can't be that guy and then lose to the Cavs for me. Basically, and we discussed what we thought he needed to do at the end of last season, and sort of making that leap is something that would transform his game. And the fact that he's not even attempting them is concerning for me.
Yeah, I think, we go back to talking about professionalism, and I'm going to talk about this a couple of times, because when you think about buying and selling stock, you have to look at these things very, very deeply and seriously, because it's, professionalism and consistency is what's going to keep you playing a good game during the season and keeping you healthy during the season, which is super important, right? I think that this guy had... Sure, he had like, what was it, 5 weeks of off season. He should have been, shooting 10,000 3-pointers every day, because what else is there to do? You're getting paid millions of dollars a year, which then he can take to Australia and be 2 times the millionaire he is in the US. You know what I mean? I completely agree. In today's NBA, he needs to be shooting those 3-pointers. He needs to be the leader of the team. You can't just rely on Embiid to win games. Dwight is there as well, and Danny Green, but you need a leader, right? Those two are not leaders. So completely agree with you. Sell.
Yeah, I think he's taken 2 jump shots, and I'm part of a Discord chat. Shouts to the guy. I can't even remember what it's called now for me to shout those guys out, but shout out to y'all in the Discord chat. Where every time he takes a jumper, there's like 3 or 4 messages being like, when did he take it? What kind of range was it from? Like, what were the circumstances? Was he left wide open? Was it a pull-up? Was it this? And you just want to know like what it took for him to actually take a jump shot. And even if it's not threes, even if it's a thing where he's left wide open and he takes a dribble in and hits an elbow jumper, like that would open up his game so much.
100%.
That's crazy.
So predictable on offense that people, most teams, you have a half-decent scout, a half-decent assistant coach, and they're going to tell you what to do to defend him, and that's it.
It's really frustrating, Ben Simmons, because when I watched him last year, I can't remember what game it was, but like he literally took over without shooting a single jump. Like he ran the entire team, like passing and defending and being the first defender on the front line. It's like he's the one applying the pressure on the other point guards. It's really impressive what he could do, but it's like, imagine his game, how he could open up but just shooting threes, not even making them. It's not even like a point of making them at this stage right now. Don't care if he makes them. Just take them. Just take them. Take 3 a game.
Yeah,
3.
it's not even for his benefit and how he would be seen. It's for the team. Like they've had 2 sort of quite disappointing off seasons now, playoff sort of performances, and it's gonna happen again. Like if he can't sort that out, it makes it so much easier for the opposition. It shrinks the court sort of significantly. So
it's a two-way thing. It's like it will benefit the team, will benefit himself. And people will be okay with him going 0 for 3 every single game.
I mean, if you're gonna lose to the Cavs anyway,
might as well
throw it up. Yeah, I mean, even in the game that they won against, they beat the Knicks. Who else did they beat? They beat the Wizards.
Had an easy schedule so far.
Hey.
Sorry. In the game against the Wizards, he was obviously out there in crunch time, but he was standing in the dunker spot. And it was just like, this is still happening like 2 years removed from Jimmy Butler having to run the offense against the Raptors because you can't shoot or take free throws. Like he's gets scared to go to the line in those situations as well. And like we've said with Giannis in the past, if you're not gonna shoot, then you've got to be an absolute bully at going inside and getting to the line and drawing free throws and scoring your points that way. And he doesn't do that either. And you can't do neither.
Yeah. And for a guy of his stature and with his handle, he would be able to get those free throws really easy if he wanted to.
Yep.
So
frustrating.
I'm out. Done. Anybody buying?
How old is he now?
He's still young. He must be 20.
Benjamin.
Is he 23 or something like that?
I wanted to say
he's very young.
He's young.
But the thing, like, even though if he's still in his early 20s, like, there's been pretty much every single season it's been told, or there's been that discussion of him or trying to get him to shoot more threes. If it's not happened by now, I don't know what will change his outlook.
Yeah, every year that goes by, it's going to be harder.
I get to the point now where I question his desire for it, because I think, like, if you had a person like Kobe or like Giannis is sort of shown it quite significantly, where they identify the weaknesses in their game and they work on it until it's not a weakness. And I don't think he has that. I don't think he has that mindset. Which
you need
is
the fire, don't you?
Like, yeah. For a franchise guy, if we're talking about him in that level, and what the for the Harden trade is what's been spun out.
Do it. He's 24.
24.
Yeah.
Yep.
Trade him.
Trade for Harden.
They should do it. They should do it.
And reunite Dwight with Harden.
This is new Dwight, not old Dwight.
It went so well.
Once you're a Dwight, you're a Dwight.
You're Dwight.
I like that. All right. So let's jump to you, Jose. You've got a lot to buy and a lot to sell. Where would you like to start?
Let's just go for players. I think I'm buying Luka Doncic stock, even though it's really expensive and for obvious reasons. The guy, he already started, the season playing really well, and he's going to remain playing really well. We can talk about how good he is forever. But I am buying Michael Porter Jr. And I think this guy is going to surprise us this season. Let's take a look at this guy's career, right? He's I think he's 22 years old now. When he got to the league, he got injured. Obviously, he didn't play for the first season. And as a rookie, when you get injured and you do not play your first season, which has happened to a lot of rookies, it can go
like Ben Simmons,
right? like Ben Simmons, for example. Think about Greg Oden. Greg Oden came to the league at a time when big men were still very, very relevant and played the game that Greg Oden used to play in college, which was, you still had the Andrew Bynums, you still had the Gasols, posting up.
Dwight Howard.
Shaq was still playing, I think.
Yep.
So, and he did not play his first season. Yeah, sure, he had more injuries afterward, but he just got depressed. He couldn't take it, couldn't handle it. Ended up playing the big three, I think, a couple of years ago for Ice Cube. Michael Porter Jr. has shown maturity. He has shown growth. He went from playing, I think, around 50 games last season and averaging around 9 points a game. Now the last 3 games he played have averaged 16. We saw really good performance in the preseason, and very importantly, he has the support of his coach and his fellow players, most importantly of the superstar of the team, Nikola Jokic, who said that they should play more around Michael Porter Jr. So, he's going to have protagonism. That Jokic is going to give him good passes. Hopefully, my fellow Argentinian Campazzo will get more minutes than he has been getting and will also be able to assist him more. But this guy, let's be clear, his stock is not low right now because people have been recognizing his talent for a while. But it's reasonably low for you to buy it now and make a fortune at the end of the season.
Yeah, that's a good shout on a young player. And you mentioned him missing his first season. It's funny because Vlade Divac, the former Kings exec, said that he had the worst medical report he had ever seen.
Wow.
And that he was considering taking him in that draft, but like the things that they said about his back and it being a back injury as well, like he became a huge risk, and that's why he fell down in the draft. Because as you can see from now that he's playing, he's extremely talented. He's a very natural scorer.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, inside out, he's 6'10", but he's as mobile as a wing.
Not bad in defense either.
I mean, he started very badly. He's improving for sure. He's
young, and I think defense is mostly about physicality and attitude, things you can kind of learn and get from your teammates,
and experience as well, knowledge as well. When a player's called, knowing what the play is and knowing how to try and disrupt it. And yeah, it helps when you have experience and you know what's going on the floor. But yeah, I mean, he has great defensive potential as a 6'10" mobile player. His jump shot is water. That's a very good player to buy on, I think. MPJ, and yeah, your man Campazzo. They brought him in for a defensive possession, which I thought was weird. They brought him in for
play
1
3 minutes.
possession.
Yeah, play 3 minutes. They use him as a kind of like a winger, putting them all the way at the corner. That's not his position. He needs to get some playing time with the ball in his hands. But he's just gonna have to be patient.
Yeah, I think his size might be an issue. He's
100%
like my size. He's out there in the trees. He's a little bit taller than me. Then never mind, guys. Yeah. So that was MPJ. Who are you selling?
I am selling. We mentioned Harden. Don't have anything else to say about him. I am selling Paul George.
Okay.
Guys, once again, I'm going to put my foot down here. Professionalism, man. I saw an interview the other day he did with SportsCenter, I think, and he said he takes full responsibility. He really enjoyed his Christmas day.
Oh, yeah.
You enjoyed your Christmas day. So that means that you showed up to your professional match against one of the best players in the world, knowing that another one of the best players in the world that plays for your team is not going to play. So you have to show up. And he came, he showed up with a hangover. Maybe hadn't slept that much. Like, what the hell? Dude, like I just there's only one person that could do that, and do it right, and that was Michael. Yeah, because I don't know if you know a little bit about history. Remember the Olympics, '92 Olympics. Michael Jordan would play cards until 5 a.m. drinking whiskey, which was play golf in the morning, turn up, score 50. But that's Michael Jordan. Yeah,
that's James Harden.
Paul George is no Michael Jordan.
6 big differences between James Harden and Michael Jordan.
There you go, man. That's it. Champions don't do that. And it's just so
he's
bad.
not a champion though, so it's fine.
He's not an
MVP.
I don't think he will. Yeah,
He's an MVP candidate. Yeah.
Yeah, I just you don't do those kind of things, Successful, when you want success in an environment like the NBA, you have to do things that most people are not willing to do, and that's skip Christmas this year, man. Win a championship. You're gonna have a lot of Christmases after you retire.
Yeah, he shot 30%. 30.8%, sorry, almost 31. Don't want to take that away from him. 15 points, 2 rebounds, 4 assists, 4 turnovers, minus 22 in 24 minutes.
But he scored the 2 first buckets.
What was the important stat?
Guys, the Mavs, if the Mavs didn't score at all in the second half, they would have still won the game.
Just play defense.
Think about it like that.
That is insane.
Oh my gosh. It was 124 to 73.
Yeah, first half 50 points up, right?
Yeah.
And then second half they finished up by 51. So there you go. If they would have not scored 1 point in the second half, they would have still won by 1.
I think we could have stepped up on the court and still finished the job
Honestly.
ourselves. That would have been amazing.
Probably not.
Clippers did win the third quarter though.
Well,
well done. Well done.
Good
They
job.
did start with a
See?
10-0. That if they want a 10-zip run.
Paul
that was
George went
amazing.
in there at halftime and told them what's what.
Mm.
I mean,
Came out firing.
With Jose on this, like, given all of the talk before the season going into it as well, that Kawhi and Paul were being treated with sort of preferential treatment, and they weren't turning up when they needed to, throwing their teammates under the bus. To get an embarrassing defeat like that, and then just say, "Oh, I had a great Christmas," that's poor, man. You can't do that.
Yeah, you can't.
He also said it wasn't a big deal.
I mean, I can't
yeah,
imagine he did if he did think it was a big deal.
I'm gonna
You know
stretch.
what?
I'm stretching it here, but I kind of understand what he was meaning by that. It's because it's game 3 for them, for the Clippers. It's very early in the season. You might want that because every single team goes through on different scales. Go through a game like that or 2 maybe in a season where you get absolutely nubbed.
Not like that. Not like that.
Not every.
Maybe not a 50. Okay, at the half that was historical. That's fine. But every single team during a season, they will go through a game when they lose by 30, 40, and there's absolutely nothing you can do during that game to turn it around. And then the question is, let's look at the Clippers during the next game. Let's see how they bounce back. I think that's the most interesting. If they crumble again, if they lose by more than 20, then there's trouble there already.
I mean, they've got Minnesota next, so if they if they crumble again,
the way the
Wolves
way the
the
games
Wolves are
have,
doing really well.
yeah, I mean the way it's been going from the start of the season, from this season, it's I wouldn't put it past the Clippers to lose
Paul George started off real well. He like the first game out, he had a really good game.
he won the game against the Lakers.
Yeah.
But it's just a bad message. It's just not a good look.
Let's say that if you're going to lose a game if you're going to lose a game that way, if it happens later on in the season, people would have been okay, fine, it's horrible, it was disgusting, okay, fine, let's move on. But the fact that it happened after the third game, after spending the entire last 6-7 weeks saying we'll change our shit, we're gonna be better. We'll do that.
Because they got
about
first in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And then you come out and pull that shit. Like, yeah, come on, man.
It did make me laugh though. Thank you guys. That was so funny. They rested Luka. Yeah. That was a plus, you know. But what my question was, what do you say? So you know when the Clippers went on their 10 zip run at the start of the second half, and you're the coach, like you're the Mavs coach, and you go, okay, timeout. Like, what do you say in that timeout? You go, so, guys, come on. Did you just say anything? You just go like what do you actually say in this time? Like,
I don't know. You say the same thing you would do at any other time if a team goes on a 10-0 run, right? It's sort of like, let's pick it up. Let's, start playing our basketball. Let's get back into the flow of the offense and stuff like that. Because even when you're 50 up, you don't want your team to take their foot off the pedal, because that's just as unprofessional as turning up unprepared for the game.
True.
Carlisle's not going to allow that.
No,
there's no way.
I would have loved to have been in that timeout though, just to see like that. So guys, what did you do for Christmas? Anything good? Anything interesting?
I would want to be in the Clippers.
The Clippers
timeout. Because then are you like, 10-0 run, we can win this game?
It's not over, guys. It's not over.
This is it, guys. This is it. This is what we talked about in the locker room.
Man. Yeah, who knows, man? Who
thanks
knows?
for the laugh.
But they still have a winning record. Record.
So are you buying Jose's stock, Dave?
Am I gonna buy the stock that he sells? I'm tempted, you know. I'm tempted. I don't feel like PG stock is gonna be lower than it is right now. I mean, unless he starts throwing it off the side of the backboard again. But
yeah, could be a steal. Could be a steal for you. Dave.
Exactly.
Could be a steal.
Exactly. It's tempting. Kawhi's not gonna miss every game. He's just gonna miss half of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm gonna hold off. I'm gonna wait for the playoffs.
Same.
Playoff P.
Same.
Went well last time.
No, we'll review in a few weeks. So where are we? Let's bounce back to Tom.
Oh,
you have more stock to sell.
I'm selling the old Frankie Smokes.
But the Knicks are doing good.
Yeah, but he isn't. So it's got the team is doing okay. But we've got the Mavs are doing okay. So the Knicks are they have a problem at point guard. I mean Elfrid Payton had a good game
just a point
last
guard?
night, like 20.
The
bigger problem is at point guard. One of the big issues at point guard, the point guard spot. Maybe I'm taking this from the perspective of somebody who's reading French websites and magazines and newspapers, and they were really hyped. Almost to a point where you're thinking, like, have you guys watched what was going on the last few years? When there's this I don't even know what word I could use for this, is they've been trying to sell Frank as this monster of a player for pretty much since he rocked up in the French league when he was like 17, and it was like, his team made it to the final, they lost, and he didn't play game 5, which was the deciding game, and it was like, oh my god, because he went to the draft in New York, and he was like, oh my god, no, they're surely gonna lose that game. It's like, bitch is playing 5 to 10 minutes a game, like he's barely a factor in this. Like, stop trying to make this guy look like he's a bigger thing. So they were really hyping him up big time, saying, okay, it's going to be good on the coach Tibbs, like playing defense and all that good stuff. Dude, like, he played 5 minutes in the first game, 2 minutes in the second game, and 19 minutes last night.
Right.
All right. So, it's averaging 8.7 minutes a game. Barely, I don't know. It's, again, it's still early. Yes, fine. He did play well with the French team during the World Cup. Blah blah blah. But his role in the NBA, I don't know what his future is like. He's not entered in discussions with the Knicks in terms of getting a new contract. Like everyone else, pretty much all the big players in his draft got extended. I think Lonzo Ball is also part of the same draft. If I'm not
Lonzo,
mistaken.
Markkanen,
Yeah,
and John Collins are the big ones.
Collins as well, which is a surprising one. But and it's not looking good for him. So I don't know if his I think his future is not with the Knicks. I don't know if his future is in the NBA because I don't think he's that. Like there was one point last season or the season before when I was trying to talk myself into it, and I think after the World Cup with the French national team, I was like, yeah, okay, fine, I can see the potential, but I just don't see it. Like I actually watched the last Knicks game. Like he scored 12, but I don't like his biggest issue is something that I don't think can be taught, which is his attitude and the way he's so passive on the court. Offensively, like defensively, yeah. Offensively, he's a great defender. He's not the best defender in the league, but he's a very good. Like if you have him on your back the entire game, then it's a problem. But you can't show that playing 8 minutes a game, So I don't know. Offensively, I think, and I've seen him play live quite a few times, not as in on TV, but like actually being in the same arena as he was. I saw him twice with the French national team. I saw him when he was playing for his team in France, and it's still the same thing. Like his attitude has not changed. He's still waiting for the ball to come to him, and he's rarely attacking the rim. He's never like he'll take a three that now and then, and but it's like Ben Simmons. In this day and age, you need to be aggressive. You need to shoot threes. You need to be moving the ball fast, quickly, and it's like I don't see that in him. Like I'm not saying he's a bad player. I'm saying he's average. He's a good defender, great defender, but like he's maybe he's just in a bad situation. But yeah, I would let it go. Let it go.
Maybe it is a bad situation.
Maybe surely it is.
He was 4 for 4 on threes. That's how he got his 12 points. Which you can say, obviously, that's not going to happen again, but that's an encouraging sign in terms of showing that aggression and confidence in the minutes that he got. Like,
but he can do it. If you watch the highlights, again with the French national team against Team USA, when Team USA lost, I think it was the semis or the quarterfinals. You see him being aggressive and attacking the paint and taking threes. Like the French national team. Pretty much won the game because of he took 2 threes in the last quarter, and that really made the difference. And he can make those. He can take those. He can make those. He's not. I think he's lacking. I don't know if it's confidence or he's not put in a good position offensively. I don't know. I don't know what it is. But after seeing him playing under 2 or 3 different coaches, like it's always the same result with him.
It might be that there's too much dependent on his performance. That like if you put him in a team where there are other actual real basketball players, he might do a bit better. I know that RJ Barrett's having sort of a good season so far, but it's a good defensive point guard is kind of like a luxury niche thing to have on a very good team already.
Yeah,
it's not something that you want to have on your team when you suck and expect them to get better.
You see my point of him having something that can't be taught, I think, or something that I wish he could change, which is being aggressive on offense. Like if you can't have that, if you can't change that now, to bring that to your game now on the Knicks, who've been sucking hard for the last 20 years, where else are you going to do that? When are you going to change that approach? If let's say you get traded and suddenly you're on the Lakers, whatever. I'm just dropping them there. You can win the title, and you're gonna play 10 minutes a game. Will you be able to show it there? I don't think so. On the Knicks, like literally go for it. There's nobody else. There's RJ Barrett, and then nothing.
Yeah,
Julius Randle. Yeah, it's you'll. you need to show like maybe it's a starting point now, having played almost 20 minutes and score, going 4 for 4. Why not? And maybe it's a starting point, but I'm still. I think I'm lost. I've lost confidence in him changing his attitude and contributing in any way, shape, or form on offense. So I'm selling, guys. Feel free to buy it.
I'm good. Just listed a bunch of things. You just listed all the reasons why I shouldn't buy it, man.
There's always hope. There's always hope.
Man.
I've got a controversial one. If you want to
go ahead.
So the team that I would be selling on right now is the Orlando Magic. The Orlando Magic.
They're riding high, Mike. Riding high.
Exactly. And this is
clever. It's going to make a lot of cash.
I think you guys would buy it, and I do not believe in them for a goddamn second. I think from my perspective, I think they've overachieved the past few seasons. Aaron Gordon, I don't believe in. I don't think he's actually sort of a star player. Vucevic is a pretty good player, but is a bit spotty. Can sort of turn it on and doesn't show up sometimes. Fultz is looking good. I don't trust Fultz from back in the Sixers days, basically. If the pressure's turned up, I'd like to see how he actually reacts to that. So I'm selling high on them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
but it's a clever move in terms of money. You'll make your cash right now. I mean, that's good.
Maybe. They beat the Heat, and then they played home and away against the Washington Wizards.
3-0. I'd buy that stock, man. Funny enough, when we predicted, actually did a preview of the Eastern Conference. I think that was the first episode of this season. Yeah. I had the Orlando Magic and found some really, really good things there. I'm a fan of European basketball, and you have Vucevic, as you mentioned, and you have also Fournier there. Terrence Ross, I just saw averaging 23 points in 3 games. That's promising. So
I like Cole Anthony, the rookie as well.
Cole Anthony. We said son of Greg Anthony, the broadcaster and former player. I think they might surprise us. They're not going to win a championship by any means, but the stock will sell high. So I'll buy a stock.
Do you think they get in the playoffs?
Sorry?
Do you think they get in the playoffs?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You do? Okay.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I think
playoffs for like fifth or sixth.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't rate them that highly. I think the East got a bit better at the top, not the bottom. I think it's going to be tough. This year.
Okay.
But they've started well.
All right, we've got our first transaction. Like it. So we will end with me. I got a few. I'm tempted to. I'm gonna start negative. I'm gonna sell stock in the Milwaukee Bucks. Now
that's a tricky one, mate. Like, why?
In our preview, I had them as contenders still in the East. And I mean, they still might, depending on playoff matchups, they still might fulfill that. Maybe they'll get to a conference finals, but they've gotten worse. First of all, they were a better team last year, I think, with the depth that they had with Bledsoe, Hill, and Ilyasova, who have all gone. I'm just not convinced by the players that they've brought in. Obviously, with time, they'll gel and things will look better, but I still think there is a ceiling on that team and how good that team can be. And I don't actually put it on Giannis, to be honest. I put it on that supporting cast. I don't think any of our top 7 players in the league would be able to carry that team to a championship.
to a championship is tough. Yeah. That's a fair comment.
Yeah, so I think they have championship expectations and aspirations, and I don't think they have a championship roster. So I'm selling it. I am selling it early.
See your point. I see your point. I just they just gave Giannis this massive contract, right? It makes sense what you're saying. I would like Chris Middleton to step up a little bit more. I said it before and I said it again. And I actually think that yes, they don't have a championship roster. So I'm gonna have to agree here. And even though I wouldn't buy your stock because it's really expensive right now, I see what you're selling it. Why you're selling it?
Yeah, I mean the argument is Drew Holiday. Like, can he get back to his best? And is it just a time thing? He's a huge upgrade on Bledsoe, and I think we're seeing that with the Pelicans as well. Just so I would stash it and just see how that's going to work out, because I do like Drew.
I like Drew as well, and he is an upgrade on Bledsoe because he defends as well as him, but scores a little bit better. But at the same time, he's still not. He's an upgrade as a playmaker and an upgrade as a shooter, but I still don't think he's a knockdown shooter or a lights out playmaker. And I think that's why it's just like they kind of almost treaded in water with the changes that they made, because George Hill is one of the best shooters in the league. And sure, Bledsoe wasn't doing much, but George Hill is someone that you wouldn't be surprised if he put up 12 to 15 points in a playoff game.
Sure.
And he's an excellent complement to Giannis as a player that can knock down shots off the catch. And they've lost that and replaced that with Holiday as well. And to me, that side of things, that's a downgrade in that area.
They
and
need
then
to bring James Harden in.
Oh gosh.
Well, no, to be honest with you though, like what I was about to say
if you
was,
could,
if you're looking at like the second best player on every championship contenders team, theirs is probably the worst. They're probably the worst off. There's not many. Like, there's not many other contenders that have the one superstar alone. So getting a second superstar is something that they would kind of need to get them over the hump, I would say.
I mean, I've seen Chris Middleton play against what game was on the other day? They won. I think it was it was a Celtics game. Middleton played okay. I think they lost by 1.
He's an all-star, but can he perform in the playoffs?
That's the thing.
he has, but there are, like you said, in terms of consistency, in terms of top-end performance and things like that, he's not what Paul George is for the Clippers. He's not what Anthony Davis is for the Lakers. He's probably closer to what Simmons is for the Sixers.
That's a good way to put it.
I don't think the issue is Chris Middleton. I think the issue is the players around that. I mean, I'm looking at the roster now. It's like Giannis, Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton, and then the rest is just. I mean, DJ Augustine is fine. Brook Lopez is like, when you watch Brook Lopez play, it's like watching a game from the 70s or the 60s. It's just like the guy is so slow, and every single move takes about 10 seconds to.
He is slow.
Imagine playing 2K with Brook Lopez. You freaking die. I mean, it's Bobby Portis.
He can hit the 3.
Yeah, he shoots 3.
Not real well.
He's okay.
No. He the first year he was there, his percentage was good, and every year since, which I think is only one more year, his percentage has actually been pretty poor.
Okay.
Yeah. He did have his first season there. He was knocking down threes consistently, but last year that wasn't the case.
It's just a weird thing because if you look at other centers around the NBA at the moment, it's like they all, most of the teams have very young guys that can jump super high and that's super fast and they can shoot from the outside and they're pretty reliable. You know, you look at Wiseman, for example, who just came in like, you know, super thin and super quickly. And like Brook Lopez is the complete opposite of that. It's like a different basketball from different era. So I don't know. I think that the bench, the rest of the roster is super weak compared to last season. So
yeah, he was 36% in his first season with the Bucks, and then he was 31% last season, and he's at 14% for this season so far. To be honest, the most important thing is if they actually guard him out there, right? That's what will make the difference. If he has gravity, then it doesn't matter what percentage he shoots. But yeah, he's just slow. And it's funny you mentioned that, Tom, about modern bigs, because as much as I love that we have Gasol, watching him try and run around and defend,
same thing.
It's like, woof, he's not going to be able to keep this up all season.
But Gasol is a passer though that brings something so much more to the table than Lopez, right?
Yeah, he does. But yeah, that was the problem against the Raptors. Actually, that's a large part of why they were able to turn it around, is because they made Brook Lopez guard in space, and I don't think anyone at that size is able to do that. So I'm selling mostly based on the front office, I guess. It's interesting that Giannis signed that contract and didn't keep holding them accountable, but we'll see. And then we can end on a positive. Well, before we do that, I'm also selling my Warriors stock, but we'll talk about it another time.
No arguments there, to be fair.
Ending on a positive. If I was going to pick a player, it would probably be Colin Sexton, who's helping lead the Cavs to a 3-0 record, I think. And they're playing really well over there. And with the East being the East as it is, they could be a good shout for the play-in tournament. But I'm going to go with the Hawks. I'm going to go with the Hawks.
Okay.
I've actually watched a few of their games. I watched them against the Pistons, and I saw large parts of them absolutely destroying the Bulls.
So
they haven't been challenged much, but Trae Young is so fun to watch, and the way that they've built the roster out around him, and then the improvements that have been made. I remember in our preview we did talk about, I think I mentioned that they essentially their starters from last season are their bench this season, but actually with the lineup that they've gone with, they're starting DeAndre Hunter, where I thought he would probably be on the bench, and Gallinari is going to come off the bench as well. And I'm just double checking. And they start. Why isn't this working? Scroll. There we go. And Cam Reddish starts as well. And those two young players have actually really improved, to the point where I think what they did was they actually went for continuity. So they're starting Colin still starting Reddish, still starting Hunter. And those young players have improved a lot. DeAndre Hunter's defense has been really good, but he is starting to knock down the 3-ball. And then Cam Reddish's defense has improved a lot. He's forcing turnovers now, and he was already known as someone who could knock down a shot. And then you add that to the veterans. Bogdanovic came off the bench in the last game, which was a bit of a surprise, but he was really good. He played like a professional. 5 of 7 from 3, 17 points, 60% shooting. And Kevin Huerter came off the bench as well, another shooter. And it was actually the bench unit that stretched out the lead, with Solomon Hill knocking down shots and Rondo knitting things together for them. And they all of a sudden they have 10, 11 deep roster.
Hmm.
And that's quite impressive considering where they were last season.
Yeah. What's important here is that bench unit, whether they start on the bench or not. I think the most important thing is who ends the game when the game is a close game.
Yeah.
And you just mentioned 3 or 4 players that can end a game, have the experience, have the maturity to stop the ball, to analyze, to talk to the younger players, to give the ball to Trae Young when they know he can win a game and not be selfish. We spoke about this before, about the Atlanta Hawks. They are going to do really, really well. I am very excited to see what the playoffs will bring for them, because I think they're going to make the playoffs. So it's going to be interesting. At least, even if they don't have a really, really good season this year, if they stay with the same players for next year, that's going to be fun as well.
Yeah, I think they've played their hand very, very well after shamefully trading Luka Doncic. They've kind of recognized that they believe, at least, that Trae Young is a real player, and they want to maximize that opportunity. So what I believe you need to do in that situation is to set a mindset and set a sort of attitude for your team to have very early on, and bringing in sort of veterans like Rondo, like Gallinari as well, who've shown Rondo's a bit touchy, but he's got multiple championships with different teams now. They've shown that they know how to behave and sort of be part of a team that is going to win. So I think it was a smart move, and I like what they've done. And I would say, that is one of the teams that I believe will take a lead this year in the East.
I'm surprised to how quickly they went and adjusted the roster, though, because usually when you get, it's usually when your best player, like Giannis for the Bucks, is usually threatening to leave, and you're like, wait, we'll bring some young hot players in and trying to get you to stay by showing that they're serious and they want to invest on the team. And it's like they, in this year, like bringing in Bogdanovic and Rondo, like you said, and having Capella there from last season, is that they built something pretty good. I think it's a good roster overall. They look. I mean, Chris Dunn is there, so we can't. They did fuck up at some point, but they.
But he's not made a bad name for himself. Like,
yeah, he's all right.
Just on the court, that's the problem.
But I'm with Dave. I would buy some of that Hawks, stock just on 2 things. It's like the first is their new jerseys. That's absolutely amazing. All 3, like the CT edition, the black and white. I'm just for them. I'm in. And then what I say in the group chat the other day, number 18, who turns out to be Solomon Hill, looks like a randomly generated 2K player. When I saw him, I was like, yes, sir, you're on my team. So I'm thinking of getting that Solomon Hill in black, that kit that he's got. And,
nice.
Did you not see it? Like, I was literally watching the game. I went, what is that? Because I played 2K just before that. I went, those, I'm talking about those.
I know exactly what you mean. Yeah,
auto-generated
The
rookies.
presets.
Presets. You're like, oh, why? That was
Mr.
amazing.
Generic.
Yeah. It wasn't generic.
Really
it was just like an odd combination of looks. Like, what is he trying to do? What are you trying to say there? Who are you, sir? Shout out to Solomon Hill.
Shout out to Solomon. He blew the game open.
Distracted everyone.
Yeah.
Distracted everyone. That's why.
Yeah, but Trae Young did put that pressure on them, and I think in the player empowerment era, that kind of thing is starting to happen earlier and earlier. Now, I think you're more at risk as a player to be traded on your rookie contract as well. But the players that are clearly the cornerstone of the franchise are starting to push the buttons. And Trae said, look, I'm not going to be happy losing much longer. Yeah. And that put the coach on the hot seat, that put the GM on the hot seat, and we're seeing the direct results of that. So shout out to both of them.
it's funny how it used to be different a few years ago when he was like, well, you're a rookie, almost like shut it, and we'll make moves when we'll make moves. If you're not happy, just go away. And now
Like,
it's
look at
become
Devin Booker, right?
Yeah.
Do you just stick around? Mike?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I was just saying that Devin Booker was a similar situation, and he's just been in purgatory for God knows how long.
But he's got Chris Paul now. It's okay. He'll win that championship.
Come into the light.
We'll see.
I'm into the line.
See how winners win.
See those rings? Yeah, me neither. Yeah. Let's go.
Hey,
Those playoff appearances.
always makes the playoffs.
Ooh.
Always
Oh,
makes the
shit.
playoffs.
Yeah. Again, good for him.
All right. So that wraps things up. I'm going to keep track of this. We're going to revisit it maybe in a month or so's time. See,
like that
see,
accountability.
see who's putting down, see who's picking up, and we'll see where the league is at in a month's time. So please remember to like, share, subscribe, review, and rate the podcast 5 stars, 5 stars, 5 stars on YouTube. Click the bell, hit the like button, subscribe, spread the word about the greatness that you just witnessed.
Scared me there.
That's the only thing spreading around here, all right?
Yay, lads.
And catch us here, there, and everywhere. YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. We're on Google Podcasts. Google are doing podcasts now. Wherever you can find us, we'll be there. And if we're not there, let us know and we'll get there. Thank you for listening. I've been your host, David Sagoe. From me, Thomas Arnal.
Goodbye.
Michael Downey.
Bring on 2021, guys.
And
it's true. It's the last one of the year.
Yeah.
So now,
Everybody just giving the fuck up. That's
start of the new decade, guys.
Oh.
Yeah, exactly. You're right. Yeah.
God.
Technically, yeah.
And Jose Garcia Vidal.
Happy New Year, guys.
Happy New Year. We're out of here.